Now, we were talking there about why there was 5 days of silence from the Prime Minister, and he has now finally issued a response through his spokesperson to the Supreme Court ruling on the definition of a woman.
Welcome the court's decision and ruling. I think it's very important that we've now got real clarity, which is going to be really helpful, I think, for everybody going forward, particularly those that have to deal with putting in place guidance.
I think very good to have real clarity for Sir Keir Starmer.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think he would know what a woman is. He's previously stated that trans women are women.
Well, he previously said that
biological
trans women had welcomed the decision. This is a big major U-turn.
Well, let's get some more with our political commentator, Andy Williams, because I can't wait to hear how he defends the indefensible. So, Andy, I'll ask you first of all, does a woman have a penis?
No. You're presuming my position before I give it to you, Nana.
No, I didn't presume. I asked you a question.
Yeah.
I have no presumption.
You said you're looking forward to me defending the indefensible. No, I mean, look, the PM has no alternative but to back this Supreme Court ruling. That's the right thing to do.
Why did he take 5 days to do it?
Well, I don't know. That's a very good question. He should have come out straight away with a statement and said, I welcome this ruling. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and once they make a judgment, that is it. We have seen people sort of question, challenge and trash the reputation of the Supreme Court before in respect of Brexit, and now some people are trying to do it again on one side of the trans debate. I think he just has to be very clear, this is the judgment, and draw a line on it.
I don't think he can get out of it that quickly, my friend. He spent 2 years saying that a woman has a penis. He then went on to say that 99% of the women don't, which means 1%, which would be 1 in 1,000, do. This is somebody who clearly knows what a woman is, but was unable to be clear to the general public and was prepared to put that down on camera, as were many others, Ed Davey and quite a few.
Okay.
In fact, we've got a clip, haven't we?
Let's see how unclear
how many times
he was. Here we go.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Well, it is something that shouldn't be said.
A woman can have a penis.
Nick, I don't think we can conduct this debate with,
Sorry, have I offended you in some way?
No, it's just...
Well,
the problem is politicians have been tying themselves up in knots over this for years. And actually, I think purely from a political standpoint, this judgment really, really helps because you can just say, that's the ruling and we all have to move on now.
Have you been getting a load of spam in your email recently? What about random calls? It's really annoying, isn't it? Data brokers are out there collecting your personal information. Anything from your email, your full name, your address, and even your political affiliation. Cyber criminals can even use AI to mimic the voices of friends and family to trick people into sending them money. And it gets even worse. People out there are getting huge loans taken out in their names without even knowing about it. But don't worry, because the sponsor of this video, Incogni, can help. They reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information is removed from their databases. Incogni continues to make sure that your data is removed automatically from the internet via repeated removal requests. So, how can you get started? Well, step 1, hit the link in the description. Create an Incogni account and tell us whose data you'd like removed. Step 2, grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf. Step 3, sit back, relax, and watch Incogni work. They will update consistently so you know when your data has been removed. Incogni is risk-free for 30 days, so you can try it for yourself and you'll get a free refund if the service isn't for you. So take back your personal data today with Incogni. Use the code GBNews using the link in the description below and you'll get 60% off an annual payment plan.
Yeah, but how stupid do they look? Most of the general public, I would say, most of us know that a woman doesn't have a penis. Most people know that a trans woman is not a woman, is just a different kind of man. And biologically, even biology tells you that people have lost jobs, livelihoods for protecting the biological status of women.
So I agree with all of that, but we also know that the vast, vast, vast majority of people just are not engaged in this as an issue or a debate.
That's not true.
Well, it is true. If you look at...
I think it's true. not true.
No, you're wrong.
I don't
You're
meet
wrong.
anybody ever in the
You're wrong.
street who says, you know, Eamonn, I've been thinking about this man-woman issue. No one.
You
That's
guys,
exactly
you're
my
men.
point.
You're
That's
men.
exactly my.
No.
That's exactly my point,
No.
Eamonn. Is that
No.
nobody in the vast majority
That's
of
not
cases,
true.
Nobody
people
in the
are not
real
talking
world.
No, that's
about
not
it.
true. Men, you two, who are men, who won't have to deal with it, think that. But as a woman, we don't, because we know that means men can come into women's changing places if they say that they're a woman. Men can come into women's toilets if they say they're a woman. You can have ridiculous things like, I think it was Virgin Active who, that's why Michelle Dewberry cancelled her membership, because they weren't prepared to be definite about women's spaces. So as women, who are actually the larger majority of the population, more than men,
So
we
women are
deal with it all the time.
made to think about it through gyms and things, not recognised in a certain way.
No, I think about it a lot. We don't like it. It's dangerous.
You might.
I'm a woman. No, I'm a woman. And if you ask other women, I think you'll hear the same thing.
Well, so let's look at polling evidence, right? So King's College London and Ipsos conducted a study. They said, what proportion of people would consider this to be a significant issue come a general election? Less than 1%.
I think that you'll find that, well, I don't know when they took that. I don't know who was on that poll. There's not enough detail with that. But if I ask any of the women that I know, they will say it's very important that because women, the majority of attacks on women happen by men. Not necessarily trans people, that's not the point.
Well,
the bottom line is trans women are not women.
That is the talking point this morning. Do you care? Do you talk about, does it affect you, this definition of what constitutes a woman? And where do you think Starmer stands on all of this? And has he disgraced himself on this?
Embarrassed himself.
Embarrassed himself.
It's more stupidity than anything. I just can't find it ridiculous.
Let us know. And Alex will be back. You'll be back just before 7 o'clock or after 7 o'clock.
Now, of course, the Keir Starmer may well be approached by Kemi Badenoch with regard to the gender ruling. Of course, Kemi Badenoch was the Equalities Minister throughout a lot of that anyway. But what do you make of that? Should she get an apology from Keir Starmer? Do you think he needs to apologise?
Well, this has been a very interesting period in politics, hasn't it? I mean, there are people on this issue of defending women's rights, defending women-only spaces, who've been very clear all the way along. The ladies, the women who took the case from Scotland to the Supreme Court, J.K. Rowling and Kemi Badenoch, they've been clear all along. And then there have been some politicians, including the Prime Minister, who just haven't been clear. They haven't been able to answer very basic questions. Now, there is the Supreme Court ruling, and when we hear the Prime Minister say he's happy for clarity from the ruling, I think what he's not saying is that his own views have changed. Has his views changed? Now, if they have, and he recognises he made a mistake, we all make mistakes in politics. I've certainly made many mistakes. But I think it would be wise of him just to consider that if it's not an apology, at least it's a way of explaining what he now truly feels. Because otherwise people are going to feel, well, he's just taking a lawyerly view about this, not a point of principle. And it's on those points of principle, which Kemi Badenoch and J.K. Rowling and others have been very clear, is actually where I think people want to hear politicians speaking clearly.
Richard,